The Australian government is investing in Chinese solar. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your ice-cold China coffee, and let's have a look at this article from the ABC News, because I think it may ruffle a few feathers. So, Australia invests $9.6 million in a revolutionary Chinese solar company, Sunman. Fantastic. Why are we investing in Chinese companies? Why isn't Australia investing in Australian companies? Why isn't Australia investing in getting intellectual property or licenses to produce intellectual property, not investing in overseas companies? Why? Why is our government even in the business of investing? Come on. Oh boy. So, consumers could potentially see their power bills drop within years if Australia's latest bet on solar energy pays off. I completely doubt it. I 100% completely doubt it that we'll see it. You know, the $9.6 million making a difference. What do you think? With Australian-China relations showing no clear signs of improvement, the government-owned Clean Energy Finance Corporation has poured $7 million into a Shanghai-based company called Sunman. So let's have a look. Let's jump over here. This is the Clean Energy Finance Corporation, and it's an Australian government-owned green bank that was established to facilitate increased flows of finance into the clean energy sector. It's responsible for investing $10 billion in clean energy projects on behalf of the Australian government, and that's from the Wikipedia explanation of who this organization is. I mean, have a look at this. You know, we can look at their annual latest report. Let's see their propaganda video here. I want to make sure they don't have any copyrighted audio here. We can see.
Operating with support.
I'll let you watch that on your own, guys, because I don't think it's going to come up here. Let's have a look at who they are about us. So the CEFC has a unique role to increase investment in Australia's transition to lower emissions. Okay, why are they investing in China then? You know, this is the thing. So many people think we can be a leader in solar. All Australia can be a leader in, and here's a dose of reality for people there, is importing stuff. We can be a leader in importing other people's products and equipment. You know, they say, oh, we can be a leader. We've got all this, sunlight. Who cares? We don't have the technical capability to manufacture this stuff. It's why our government doesn't have enough confidence in Australian businesses that they're investing money over in Chinese companies. So, with the backing of the Australian government, that means us, we invest to lead the market, operating with commercial rigor to address some of Australia's toughest emission challenges. Well, let's bring up a quote here for everyone. Now, this here is from Dr. Alan Finkel, Board of Australia, and the Chief Scientist for Australia. And this is in response to a question regarding, if we were the world was to reduce carbon emissions by 1.3%, what impact would that make on changing climate of the world? And his response was the impact would be virtually nothing. And the reason why that 1.3% is important is because, well, that's what Australia is putting out. That's our emissions, 1.3%. If we became carbon neutral overnight, it would make no difference, except that it would increase the cost of our living standards here in Australia. And it's more intervention into the market. Again, if you're going to steal money from people, which is what taxation is, it's a social contract, but not really, because it's not negotiated. There's not two parties to it, is it? There's one party dictating the terms on another party. Is that a contract? It's something else, isn't it? Let's jump back here. In agriculture, energy generation and storage and infrastructure, property, transportation and waste. We are also proud to back Australia's clean tech entrepreneurs through the Clean Energy Innovation Fund and invest in the development of Australia's hydrogen potential through the Advancing Hydrogen Fund. With $10 billion to invest on behalf of the Australian government, we work to deliver positive return to taxpayers across our portfolio. Well, let's have a look at their report here. I want to see if you made a profit. Here are their commitments. I don't care. Did you make a profit? Did you make a profit? Doesn't say it has, does it? Here's the performance. Leading investment innovation. Okay, cool. I want to see if you made a profit, guys. Don't care about this. Finance, technology, and cutting emissions. I can't see it. Well, we'll look through that another time. What do you reckon, guys? Why do we have this? Why is $10 billion of taxpayer revenue going to this? When we're in a recession, when the government is going upon more and more debt, the market is going to be fine. There's going to be people innovating all over the world, fueling this, finding solutions to global problems. That's going to happen. Okay? If there's money to be made, it will happen. We don't need to spend $10 billion of taxpayers' money to prop up things all over the world. If they're not viable themselves, then they're not viable. Remember all those geothermal projects that were going to go ahead? None of them happened here in Australia. They all fell over because they weren't viable. What about all of Obama's brilliant energy production schemes? These huge solar plants that would use the thermal power of the sun to generate power. All of them fell over. This is the problem when the government gets involved in the market. It creates these artificial situations where things that may not be viable are, artificially propped up. We need to step away. The government needs to step away and leave it alone. You can see in Victoria. In Victoria, they created a situation where you can get subsidies of up to 50% of your solar. So what happens is if they go within the first couple of hours every month. If you don't get it, what do? Do you just go out and buy solar panels for your house? No, you wait another month because there's your chance of getting a 50% discount. Waiting another month is worth it for a huge discount like that. So what's happened? The industry in Victoria has been capped at that number. It's been capped at that number because only an idiot wouldn't take the chance at a 50% cut. There you go. Government intervention causing more problems. But the voters think it's good. It's a good vote winner. Probably the people in the industry thought it was great as well, not knowing that it would restrict the business that they can do. So, this means taxpayers, by extension, will own a 14% stake in Sunman, which also has offices in North Sydney and Hong Kong. The little-known company was founded in 2015 by leading solar scientist Dr. Zhirong Shai, nicknamed the Sun King, as he is widely regarded as a pioneer in the industry's development. Dr. Shai has invented a brand new breed of solar panel called the E-Arc, which CEFC's chief executive, Ian Leamonth, is betting will be the next big thing in the industry's revolution. Essentially, these are lightweight solar panels that someone says are revolutionary and can be glued onto any surface. And how are you going to get them off? Already, we've got an incredible uptake of solar rooftops. There are 2.5 million roofs in Australia with conventional panels on, Mr. Leamonth told the ABC. I mean, if these flexible panels aren't going to have the silicosis issues of all of these panels, the $2.4 million conventional glass panels, the 2.4 million conventional glass panels that we are going to have to dispose of eventually because they don't last forever. If these ones avoid all of the environmental damage of getting rid of that and the manufacturing process, maybe that is the benefit that we need. Because you've got to remember, there's never any discussion in any of this of the embodied energy in the manufacturing of these panels. All this renewable stuff, guys, there's a tremendous amount of embodied energy in the manufacturing and shipping it around the world. You've got to take that into account. I see this particular innovation in solar panels playing a huge role. We are now going to open up a whole new market. It's very exciting. Dr. Shai is the major shareholder of Sunman, while Sydney-based private equity firm Southern Cross Venture Partners also has a significant stake. So then why does government need to invest in it? Private equity is doing it. Why do we need to? Why do the taxpayers need to jump on board with this? Should the government be investing in business like this? I guess that comes down to your perspective on what the role of government is. Do you think government should be investing in the market, investing in businesses, picking winners and losers, because they can stack the game to their favor? Or should the government just simply be a caretaker, step back, enforce private property rights and some legislation that we agree upon to a limited extent, but then pretty much leave the market alone to act on its own devices? That's the difference, and they're different perspectives that some people have. I would argue that in Australia there's no political will to allow true freedom of the market. I think a lot of people are blaming capitalism for the outcomes that we're seeing here in the world when we're anything but capitalistic. Look at the States, guys. It's going to be run, if, when Biden gets in, it's going to be run by all of his, his corporate overlords. Look at his onboarding team. Look at the list of companies there. So, I see this particular innovation in solar panels playing a huge role. We are now going to open up a whole new market. It's very exciting. So what is the e-arc? Sunman says its e-arc panels weigh 70% or 14 to 17 kilos less than traditional glass panels since they are made from a plastic-like polymer composite. This means they can easily be bent, making them easy to install on curved roofs, walls, and even tops of trains and caravans or RVs. Our technology will revolutionize the way Australians approach solar and save them money on their energy bills, he said. He also estimates that 40% of commercial roofs are structurally slender and unable to accommodate the weight or uplift of glass solar modules. So if this is looking at this could actually be a really good idea if it reduces the weight requirements for your structural roof to cover it in panels. Unbeknownst to many, these new age e-arc panels are already being installed at some iconic Australian locations and some that aren't well known. One of the better known landmarks is the Australian National Maritime Museum. So you can see them there. The museum has since 2015 wanted to install conventional panels on its heritage centre located in the Sydney tourist hotspot of Darling Harbour. However, it soon realised the roof was too steep, a 30-degree pitch, and it was not strong enough to bear the weight of the heavy glass panels. The museum had to put off its plans to reduce its power bills and carbon footprint for several years until it decided to give the e-arc panels a try in 2019. Well, no, they could have just bought some carbon offset tokens on the market. Some people in the middle of the bush will burn something a bit earlier than they have. Then you can buy their green carbon certificates and offset your carbon footprint. I mean, why do you think you can offset a flight for a few dollars, everyone? So they just weren't committed. We came across a unique glass-free solar panel from Sunman, the museum's chief executive, Kevin Sumpton, said in August last year. More than 800 of these lightweight panels have been installed on the museum's roof. The 5.5 kilogram lightweight panels could overcome the building's structural challenges and also have the same power output as 20 kilogram conventional panels. So here's the innovation. It's in the weight. So that's very impressive. The e-arc panels have also been fitted on the exterior walls as opposed to the rooftop on the Melbourne apartment building Docklands Harbour 1. That's the stupidest thing in the world. That is done. I can tell you now, I guarantee you now, that is simply done for aesthetics. Sure, it'll generate some power, but that doesn't matter. It's more important to appear sustainable. Because that is the worst position on a vertical surface. It's the worst position to put a solar panel. Because I know I've looked at roofs where you get solar access and you've got to look at which orientation you can put them on, what angle you can put them on, where the building is facing. All of that has to be taken into account. Certain panels are going to be more effective than others. They have also been installed on the curved roof of Byron Bay's newest tourist attraction, which we believe is the world's first solar train. So is the train running just on solar? The train is a refurbished 70-year-old red Rattler, running on a 3-kilometre stretch of disused railway line between Casino and Murwillumbah. The rise and fall of the Sun King, Dr. Shai, came from humble beginnings, born in 1963 to a poor farming family, in the aftermath of Mao Zedong's Great Leap Forward. It's funny how no one seems to remember that anymore, do they? He was given up for adoption at a young age, along with his older twin brother. There you go. And there you go, you can bend them over. The future Sun King studied in Shanghai, excelled in his studies, then moved to Sydney as an exchange student in 1988. Dr. Shai was 25 years old at the time, and it was a year before the Tiananmen Square massacre in Beijing. He soon became an Australian citizen and finished his engineering PhD at the University of New South Wales in a record 2.5 years. In 2001, he was lured back by the Chinese government, which rewarded him with generous subsidies to form a solar startup in the eastern city of I can't pronounce that. Why? Wixie? Why? Here's the question. Why is Australia coming to the party years later then? Why we're buying into it now after you had this guy here who was doing so well, became Australian, and the Chinese government lured him back. So the company he founded was called Suntech Power, which was the world's biggest solar panel company listed on the New York Stock Exchange until it went bankrupt in 2013. Back in its heyday in 2011, Suntech also installed 1,900 solar panels on the rooftop of the Sydney theatre company. It was the subject of a high-profile launch by actress Kate Blanchett and her husband Andrew Upton, the theatre's artistic directors at the time. Before Suntech's decline, Dr. Shai, being ousted as its chairman and chief executive, was one of the richest men in China and Australia, where he divides his time. He was the world's first green billionaire, and his net worth is estimated to have peaked at $41 billion in 2008. So why is Australia needed to invest in this now? I mean, there you go, the first solar train. Can those panels produce enough power to push that train? I'd be damn impressed if they can. I really would. I would be shocked if they produce enough. So, it didn't help that Suntech had racked up billions of dollars worth of debt as it tried to expand aggressively and defaulted on $512 million in bond payments. Oh, there we go. I wonder if many of the huge companies that we're hearing now are going to wind up like that. Nor did China's decision to subsidize more than 100 of its competitors, which led to the world being flooded with solar panels, causing prices to plunge. See, this is why, when everyone's saying solar is getting cheaper, this is why, everyone. Right there. Right there. That's aggressive deindustrialization of the Western world. It's causing the Western world to, lose its industrial capacity. You know? In business, if you run at a loss to try and destroy your competitors, how's that seen? It's no different here. As you can imagine, every company has good times and bad times, he told the ABC. Back in 2013, after the GFC, and also with overcapacity of the industry, anti-dumping tariffs from Europe and the United States, the whole industry became very difficult at that time, both financially and I would say politically. Despite that, he remains proud of its legacy and is hoping for better luck in life. I started the solar industry here in China 20 years ago. Now you see cheap solar electricity available everywhere in the world. Despite the failure of Suntech, the CEFC boss is confident that Dr. Shai has what it takes to elevate solar technology to the next level. We of course have a very thorough look at everything and went on both in China and Europe, he said. We don't feel there was any malfeasance on behalf of Dr. Shai. Obviously, we wouldn't have thought so, or we wouldn't have made this investment, so value for money. The CEFC boss strongly believes Sunman will be a winner with limitless potential, even as trade relationships hit new lows between Australia and China. Last week, Chinese state media, in the form of a China daily editorial, warned that Canberra only has itself to blame and could suffer further pain. The Global Times, another Communist Party tabloid, also confirmed unprecedented suspension this week on 7 Australian export products to China, including wine and coal, in a multi-billion-dollar blow to the local economy. It sounds like this is done for propaganda purposes for the locals. Despite all that, Mr. Learmonth maintained a positive outlook. I think in some ways, the Sunman investment may go towards improving things, he said. Dr. Shai is an Australian-Chinese national, and we've got a business that is a partnership between Australia and China. So I'm hoping that we can see the best of both of these markets rather than some of the challenges that we've seen recently. Do you think 9.7 million is going to compare to the billions in other industries that's getting wiped out? And maybe a condition of CEFC investment should be that any manufacturing of their investment should be based in Australia. Shouldn't that be a requirement? If it's Australian tax dollars that are funding this, the Australian government that's backing it, why not? What do you reckon? Or is that too nationalistic there? We can't have those bad opinions. So what will Australian taxpayers get out of the CEFC's multi-million-dollar investment in Sunman? The money will be used in Australia to build out Sunman's marketing, distribution, and R&D developments. It's an Australian-centric investment for us. Marketing and R&D, fantastic. And distribution. But Mr. Learmonth confirmed there is no clause in the CEFC Sunman deal mandating how much of the solar company should invest in Australia. Well, mate, what are you doing? So it's our tax dollars. The agreement should not be overly prescriptive, he said, given Sunman is undergoing a growth phase. However, most of Sunman's staff are employed overseas. Its headquarters are located in Shanghai, and it was registered in Hong Kong. It employs about 20 staff in Sydney and 80 working in China, mostly in engineering, R&D, and sales. We do not do manufacturing ourselves. We subcontract to China and Thailand, he said. Well, then it can all be lost, can't it? As for how many Australian jobs... Oh, bullshit. How many Australian jobs? We can easily double the number of jobs in the next few years. Well, there you have it, guys. What do you think? Do you think the government should be investing in businesses like this, primarily based overseas, or should it be focusing on Australian businesses? What do you reckon? What do you think? Do you think the government should even be funding a bank like this? As always, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. I think it is definitely some exciting tech. The fact that it can reduce the weight so significantly, I can see the potential for that. I really can. But that's not really the question here, is it? Should the government be investing in it? Should your tax dollars be going towards this? Think about that the next time people complain about increasing the job seeker just a little bit. Or, the fact that so many people who are quite wealthy are getting subsidies for panels to be put on that are often made overseas anyway. What do you think, guys? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create here, there are a few ways you can. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Kucoin. You can buy a merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. And don't forget, you can also support us using our affiliate links from AussieBroadband. Take care, guys, and I'll see you next time.